because of a logistic issue, we had to change it to 12:30. It is important for us to find means to communicate with everyone, and that is the reason why we are looking for different means to get to other people in different places. That is the precise reason why we're trying to have these live transmissions in different social media. We are going to have these transmissions in YouTube Live, so you can watch us there. You can also find us in our page, the UNCOA page, which is now in process. The Facebook Live transmissions have changed a little, and now we are transmitting in different ways, in different places, and we're trying to make it possible for you to watch us in the different means and channels that we have to communicate with you. We are a school we are an institution that has been working for quite a while, trying to find answers to the very questions that most people usually pose themselves. We are usually trying to find answers to the very, very simple and at the same time deep questions that trouble human beings. Throughout the ages, man has been working in different ways to try to know himself, to find answers, to find happiness, and to find a way to live in a better way. I know it sounds redundant to say that to have a way to live in a better way, but it's important that we start to understand that the places where we have been searching for the answers are not the right places. Men have been working very hard, humankind have been working very hard in order to find happiness, satisfaction, well-being, progress in different means, but it is always been outside. We are trying to find the happiness, the well-being, and everything we are searching for, especially the comfort and the satisfaction in many things in the outside. We're always working and finding the material or physical things that will probably, or that we consider that will satisfy what we're looking for. Unfortunately, we have been working for a long time without being able to find different ways to feel better, to have a better understanding of what we're doing. That is the reason why we're trying to find, for quite a while now, different ways to understand why we feel the way we feel, why we think the way we think, why we understand things the way we understand them. A lot of times we don't even know why we feel the way we feel. Some of the beliefs we have escape our possibility because we don't even know where we found these beliefs, where we learned about these, where we started thinking that this was the way things used to be. And maybe I'm going around and around about this topic, but the important thing is to understand why we do what we do. This institution was born a lot of years ago, and everyone who started working here, the ones who founded it, had a need to understand themselves. It sounds as if it was in a philosophical way, but the thing is, they were trying to find something beyond that. And they just started getting together, different people in different times, and they found out that they had the same ideas, the same questions, and the same need to feel better, to have a better living, and especially to make this a better world. So they started working together in order to find these, to get to this objective, which is finding answers for themselves and others. Across these years and during this time, they started working very hard through experience, through understanding, through investigation, and started working to see and understand why men, women feel the way they feel, think the way they think, and why they normally work very hard and have no result at trying to find a different way. When we're trying to find happiness through material things, what happens is there is something that completes you or makes you feel better only for a short period of time. If you are saving for a long time to get a new car, when you get your new car, you probably have a feeling of fulfillment, happiness, satisfaction, and joy. But what happens is that with time, this feeling starts fading away, and then you need to find a new objective in order to feel better again. So what happens is these moments of happiness are like little flashes that they last for a very short time. So what is an objective? If we look for the synonym of the word objective, we would find that excuse me, that an objective is something that we have to understand and find in different ways. An objective is something that is a goal that we're working for. It's something that is demonstrable, probable, verifiable, something that we're trying to find in a non-empirical way. An objective is something that is equitable, that is impartial, that it makes you feel that something is worth getting there. But when we talk about happiness, happiness has many different ways to being interpreted. For many people, happiness is a brief moment of joy. For others, happiness can be a long moment of peace. If we look for the synonyms of happiness, happiness can be described as ecstasy, as euphoria, as heaven, glory, paradise, as ravishment, exhilaration, delight, enjoyment, and pleasure. So sometimes we decide that when you feel cheerful, when you are in a moment of comfort or exuberance, you can say that you are completely happy. It would be interesting to try to understand when we say that we are happy, what it really means being happy. What is the definition for you of happiness? It is important to understand that those brief moments of happiness don't need to be that brief, that you can have moments of happiness that can become little by little more permanent, because when you start trying to find that happiness within you, it's going to be very different. When we place all our hope for that happiness in something that is out of our control, out of our hands, outside of us, like I said, I was giving you an example in which I was talking about finding happiness in a material something, getting a car, a new phone, maybe getting a new house or finding a new job. Those are things that will make you very happy for a short time. But when you are learning to find happiness in the very little things that you have in your way, then you start finding that that happiness is not an objective, is not a brief moment, is not just a feeling. Because when we think that being happy means being cheerful, joyful, or I don't know, feeling this ecstasy, then we're trying to find happiness in things which will probably lead us to feeling the moments of happiness will become extremely short. So we start putting our hope in a party where we drink alcohol, where we consume drugs, because we're looking for this feeling, this ecstasy, this joy that gives you the thing that you are doing at that moment. What happens is after you go to the party, after you have a good time, after the alcohol wears off, you start feeling again the same way you were feeling. And so a lot of people start doing it over and over again, trying to find to keep that feeling within them. And that is how some people who are in a very bad moment, in depression, in anxiety, start finding that consuming substances makes them feel different, makes them feel better, because they can run away from the feeling they have constantly of emptiness. Emptiness is a very important word, because some specialists say that depression, a big part of the depression, if you look at it as we could say as a pie, some of the slices would represent, if you have 8 slices, some of the slices would represent sadness in the actual depression. But probably out of those 8 slices, maybe 2 are sadness, but probably 4 are emptiness. When you feel empty, you have nothing to feel, nothing to go. It's like no feeling. And if you talk to someone who is in a depression, they will tell you the worst part about being sad is not being sad. The worst part about the depression is not feeling anything. When people don't feel anything, they don't have somewhere to go. They don't have an objective. They don't have a reason to do things. So what happens now, nowadays, we see a lot of situations in which kids, young kids, are taking, like I said, are taking substances to feel something else because they don't want to feel empty. Sometimes it's not even the sadness they want to run away. They want to run away from the empty feeling. They want to feel something. They want to feel happy. They want to feel sad. They want to feel ecstasy, joy, or simply escape from their reality. A lot of times, and we also see some of the new symptoms that are not only drinking or consuming drugs, they also in a way start hurting themselves. The reason why they hurt themselves is because they want to feel something, even if it's pain. What causes that? The emptiness within them. And that happens to a lot of people. You start feeling those void spaces. You start feeling that void inside of you with objects, with things, or with empty relationships. And so that so-called happiness you're looking for never comes to your life. You're looking for those answers, they never come to your life because all your attention is in the outside. You're trying to find those answers in other people. You are trying to find those answers in other things, or like I said, in other experiences that don't take you to the real place where you want to go. When you start listening to yourself, looking at yourself, learning to know yourself, then you will find the real answers. And that is what we discovered here. Our experimentation led us to find out that when you start working on the knowledge of your own self, then you start on a journey that will really lead you to the real happiness you've been looking for. And you might think, that sounds absolutely ambitious to think that you have the answers to find the happiness that human beings have been looking for. I agree, it sounds very ambitious, but the thing is, I'm not telling you that I have the answers. I'm telling you that you have the answers as soon as you learn and you understand that you have to start that journey within yourself, not in the outside. And so what we're trying to do by communicating constantly with you is help you begin that journey that will lead you to those answers that are within you. We know that everything in the universe is perpetual movement. Everything in the universe is energy. And that energy, that loving energy, that hopeful energy that lies within you is just there waiting for you to discover it. You are not just this person that sits around and works all day and runs errands and cleans the house. There are a lot of things that keep you distracted. Those distractions don't let you continue working and moving towards the main goal that has you here. Everyone is born with an objective, with a purpose, with a reason. But we never find the reason why we're here because we are very much distracted. So what we're trying to do by sitting here and talking to you is little by little start sharing the experience that we have, the experiences that we have gone through, and that way help you understand that everything that you have worked for up until now, it had been not failed attempts to find happiness, but just experimentation to lead you to learning, understanding, and knowing yourself better. Everything that happens to you happens for a very concrete reason. Nothing in the universe happens just because. There are no coincidences. Nothing in the universe is a coincidence. Maybe sometimes we think, I wasn't expecting that. It was just a coincidence. It never is. It always happens for a reason. And the main reason is you have before you the situation that will lead you to understand, to learn, so that way you can start changing your actions for actions that will lead you to better results. The reason why we're always working and we're always moving in the same direction and never getting the results we're looking for is because we're always having the same attitudes, the same actions, the same feelings, the same thoughts. So we wonder why we never get to the goal we have been aiming, and the reason is because we are not doing anything differently. Even if you change some of the actions you do, sometimes the intention keeps being the same. So what we have to do is to start finding different ways to react, to act, to take action. The intention has to change, and we have to do it in a different way in order to get different results. Einstein used to say that. He used to say that we're always trying to find different results, but we do the same things. So it's pretty silly to think that you're going to have better results or different results when the actions are always the same. So what I'm trying to tell you with this is, if you have been looking for those answers, if you have been looking for that part, that moment that is going to make you feel different, that is going to give you a sense of accomplishment, a sense of satisfaction, maybe you need to start looking at your own self and trying to find out why things haven't resulted the way you expected them. Observe, analyze, and even if it's necessary, start writing a journal. Look at the situations that you faced today. Look at them and then analyze them. That is something that we never do. It is interesting because if you think about it, when you are trying to, for example, if you are trying to complete a career, if you are going to a college or a university, even if you are in an elementary school or a high school, what you do all the time is do homework, observe, understand, and try to do things the way you are asked to in order to learn. That is the reason why we go to school, in order to learn. We have to do homework. Even if in the morning, and I'm going to give you a very basic example, even if in the morning you go to school and they teach you numbers and now you have to learn how to add or how to subtract, they give you homework in order to see if you understood the concept that they were explaining. And teachers, we always say, in order for you to grasp, to make it your own, to understand something that you were taught, it is important to practice, to do it on your own, to put it in a different context, so you can see for yourself if it's already your own, if it's something that you learned. So if they teach you numbers and, adding, subtracting, multiplication, you go home and you do a bunch of those exercises to be able to see if you understood or not. So next day, through the exercises, you can tell your teacher, now that I was doing it at my home by myself, now I notice that I don't understand it very well. I have to do something else. You need to explain it better, etc., etc. Or by when they are grading, they can tell. I'm giving you a super simple example, but what I'm trying to do is to let you understand that things as deep as understanding your own life deserve that time, deserve you doing your homework. If you have situations that you face all the time, the same conflict, the same problem, the same, adversity all the time, then it would be interesting for you to take a notebook, start writing a journal, and start to notice what you are doing the same way or what you are doing differently to see if the results change. That way, you're going to start having a better study, a better comprehension of your own life. If it was worth learning about computers, if it was worth learning about mathematics, about history, about the things that you do all day, if you're a homemaker, if it was important for you to learn how to cook different recipes because you noticed that your family felt unhappy eating the same thing over and over again. Through observation, you learned, my family doesn't like to eat the same thing all the time. Now I have to find a different way to do it. Well, I think your whole life deserves the same kind of commitment of observation that you have taken and that you have done throughout the years for other goals that you had in mind. So the same way an engineer who works with computers has to observe, to take notes, to study, to understand what's new, because they are always changing. Computers are always changing, so you cannot just park there and just don't do anything else. You need to understand and to observe and to learn and maybe take a course and do things so you can be as good as everyone else in that, because that's your area of expertise, or because that's your job. So if you take all that time to prepare yourself for your way of living or for some other things, why wouldn't you take that time for your own life, to understand your own life, to understand your own actions, to understand your own results? So that's what we do here. What we do is we take time to learn about our own selves. That way, the results that we get, the way that we feel, is not responsibility of someone else. Because we learned throughout the years or throughout time to blame others for not being happy, for not feeling that fulfillment, that satisfaction that we're looking for. I'm not happy because my husband doesn't do this. I'm not happy because my wife doesn't do that. I'm not happy because my boss is mean. I'm not happy because my teacher is unfair. I'm not happy because my children don't listen to me. So you are always placing the responsibility of your own happiness in someone else. As long as we keep putting that responsibility on someone else's shoulders, we're not going to have a possibility to really get to that happiness that we're looking for, the main goal, the finish line, if you want to call it, which I wouldn't call it a finish line. Because why? Because happiness is not the line, it's not the end, it's not the objective, it's not the goal. Happiness is the journey itself. Everything you do throughout your life, it is happiness. Being alive, waking up every day, having a cup of coffee if you like to drink coffee, taking a run, taking a jog, I don't know, petting your dog, breathing, looking at the sun, listening to the birds sing, feeling the air in your face, having a good lunch, having a good conversation. Anything you do can be a moment of happiness. And if you want happiness to be permanent in your life, you need to start changing the way you look at things. Because if I'm waiting for everything to be perfect in order to be happy, I'm going to be waiting forever. My life is going to end, and I'm going to look back in regret, thinking, I had all these things in my life to be happy about, and I wasted my time. So that is something that we really want to help you understand. We want to make you start thinking, start studying, start learning, start understanding, not about things outside, not about the world, not about the planets, not about the universe, not about the other people, not about the thing that you do for a living. We want you to start learning and understanding better about you. You are the most important thing for you. Whatever you do, whatever you feel, it's important. So it's necessary, it's a must, to take time to understand ourselves in order to be able to have that permanent happiness we're looking for. And for many people, it will mean different things. If you look at, I don't know, for example, the monks who meditate, they have happiness in their meditation. Maybe that's not your happiness, that's their happiness. Maybe happiness for you is a different thing. Maybe happiness for you is everything you do every day, but you haven't noticed. You are distracted. You are not paying attention to what you are trying to do. So take a time to be grateful. Take a time to be aware. I think that's the most important word that I can share with you today. Take a time to be aware. Aware of the things you do. Aware of the things that are worth doing. And we're almost out of time, but I want to say hello to the people that are watching us right now. And I want to say hello to Edith Guadalupe. Hi. Martina Martin, she left a comment that says, very beautiful the work you do. Thank you. Fatima Leiva. Fatima, she's my teammate. She makes this live transmissions possible, so I'm really grateful with her. Alexa Guzman is also with us, so hello. I want to say hello to Marco Abad also. And well, I think it is important that we start little by little explaining and understanding everything that I'm trying to share with you. There is a lot of information we can share. There is a lot of, facts that we can share throughout the experimentation that we have done. And little by little, we'll be giving you more information. We'll give you options to study, to understand, to keep a journal, whatever you want to do. We're going to start helping you get to know yourself. And remember, I think the most important word that you have to start considering is awareness. Become aware of your own self. It is important to start understanding yourself. And sometimes when we look at the others, we think that they are responsible for our happiness. Nobody is responsible for my well-being, for my own happiness, but me. So I think you should keep that in mind. And I think that's going to be the homework for today. Just to start taking a look at everything you have around, the people, the things, everything you have worked for, and start being more aware of your own happiness, of your own self. So this is all for today. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next week at 12:30. Thank you, and as we say in our school, and we don't mean it not ever seeing you again, but we mean something that we wish for you to have a good life.